Right. So today's chapters will be working on objects, that is understanding the objects, and then how to use this error handling. When I say object means like application, worksheet, workbook, range, or chart, or pivot tables, or anything which is an object. How to work on this object by using a data types, their own data types. By this time you would have seen this sheet, that is how to add sheet, how to delete sheet, how to rename the sheets. So I'm not going to cover this one chapter because this is already covered in our previous sessions. So I'll be covering almost all, not almost everything, all the other chapters. Let me open one Excel file. So I'll cover all these objects in our Excel file itself, one Excel file. The first thing what we'll do is we'll try to save this file. Save it. We'll go to our folder, online session, and we'll say sessions. Save. Right. First, we'll see about the application, the object application. Say Alt F11. Go here. Right click. We'll say module. F4. I'll name this as mod underscore application. Right. Application means the Excel application. Now, what all I can do with this application? Let's say sub work on application. That is the entire application what I can do. When I open a workbook, sometimes I want the workbook to be minimized and only a form should appear. Or say when I open immediately that has to be maximized. So for this I have a code, a simple code, application.WindowState equals, I can give either maximized, minimized, or normal. Let's take this minimized, and let me just go here like this. If you can see, I have this application, the Excel application open. I mentioned here as Excel minimized. Let me say F5, see my Excel got minimized. So suppose if you want to maximize it, just go here, I'll change this and I'll say maximized, say F5, see again it will get maximized. So this application what you have, the Excel application, or this can be applied to any other application as well. I'll say .WindowState means this complete WindowState what is there, I can either maximize or minimize. Fine. Next step, we have something called as display status bar. You can see the status bar. I can completely disable this. That means hide it. How to do that? Say application.display status bar. Sorry. Status bar equals, I'll say false. Let me run this. I'll say F5. See the status bar got hidden here. If you want it back, I'll say true. F5. See again it will come back. I want a customized status here in the status bar. I'll say application.status bar equals, you can just type say welcome to online VBA session. Let me run this. See here I can see welcome to online VBA sessions, but make sure that you will remove this, otherwise this will remain as is like this. So how to remove this? I'll just comment this. Just say application dot status bar equals false. Just mention it as false. Now run this. See that will. Then apart from this, I also have something called as display application.display scroll bars equals false. You can see the scroll bars here, the horizontal and the vertical. If I say false, I'll say F5. See those scroll bars will get hidden. Suppose if you want to do all this, you can use this. Usually we use this in our dashboard so that once I open the dashboard or say template, things which are to be hidden or something while opening the file. So these things I'll be using it. Okay, if you want it back, just change this to true. Right. Next is we have something called as application dot screen updating equals false. This you should use when you're having a very big code or say something where you'll be updating a lot of data. You don't want your screen to be flickering. Okay, in that case, you can use this. Then we have application dot display alerts equals false. Guess we have also discussed this in our worksheet session. This display alerts will disable all the alerts what we get in our application. Okay, these are some of the common code what we use in our applications. That is application object. Next, we'll see how we can use workbook. F4, I'll say mod underscore workbook. First, we'll see how we can add a workbook. Sub add new workbook. Just say workbooks dot add. If I say workbooks dot add, and if I run this, I'll just say F5, a new workbook will be added. Say F5. If you go and check this, say a new workbook which says book 2 will be added here. Fine. Let's go back. Now this is just to add. Now if you want to work on this, say I want to say save this somewhere or say close this. If you want to do that, what you have to do is you have to assign this workbook what we created to one variable. So how to assign this data or say the sheet what you have created to one variable? So sub assign workbook. Say dim wb new. That means I'm just creating a variable here. So likewise, what we have is dim inti as integer. I'll say inti equals say 100, 200, or say worksheet dot range of d5 dot value. So here what I'll do, I'll say dim wb new. This is a variable name as workbook. So workbook itself is a data type. Now what I'm trying to do here, I'm taking a data type as workbook, and that I'll be giving a variable name wb. Now when I say wb is a normal variable, I'll say equals 100 or something. But now this is a workbook. I have to assign a workbook. Let's say I'm creating one workbook, this new workbook that has to be assigned to this variable. Now when I say workbook or say any object variable, object data type, I cannot just like that say the variable name equals values. We have to use something called as set. And then here I'll say wb new equals workbooks dot add, like this. Now what will happen, whatever workbook is getting created, let's say here I have this book 2, I'll just close this. Whatever workbook I'm creating, I'm adding, that will get assigned to this variable. Then after that I can use that variable in different ways and different operations. Let's say set wb new equals workbooks dot add. Now if I run this, see a new workbook is created. If you see here, a new workbook is created. It is book 3, and this book 3 is assigned to this wb new. So whatever functions or say methods or properties which you have in our workbook, that will get assigned here. See wb new dot, see all the methods and properties related to that workbook will be assigned here. This is for assigning. Now let's say I want to save this workbook. If I want to save this workbook, how to save this, I'll show you. Let me take the same code. I'll say save workbook. Here I'll create one workbook. The created workbook should be saved. I'll go here, I'll say wb new dot save as, and it lasts for file name. I'll say new excel dot xls x. Fine. This is okay. I given the file name, but where is that path it has to get saved? So that path has to be given. So for that, what I'll do, let me go here. I'll just hard code this. Let me take this. See, I've taken the path. I'll go here. I will paste it here. I'll say slash. Let me close this. Project Explorer. See, this is the path what I've mentioned, and if I run this file what I've created will be saved in this folder. Let's try this. See, a new file got created, and here a new Excel has been created. But if you go back and see this, I have mentioned here a path. Let's assume that this is a project, and I've sent this code to all you guys. When you open this file or say this folder will not, this code will not run. The reason is the folder what you're seeing here might not be existing in your system. So in that case, you have to make it dynamic. So how to make it dynamic? So what I'll do is, let me copy this, I'll paste it, I'll say workbook 2. Instead of taking this hard-coded path, let the file name be like this. I'll just delete this. Let the slash be here like this. This is for the directory separators. But how will I take the path? I'll go here, I'll say dim str path as string. Let me take one variable. Now we'll go to this str path here, say equals this workbook.path. So what this workbook.path will do? This workbook.path will give me the current working files path. That means the file what I've saved here will be here. Let's go to this. See, it will be here, online session here. So in this path, so my file will get saved in this path, because the file what I'm working, VBA online session 7, is in this path. Now let's go and try to run this. Previously I had hard coded with this path, so it was getting saved here. Now I'm trying to save this in the path where I'm working on the file, that is VBA online session 7. Let me run this. Fine. And let's go and check here. See, new Excel has been given this path which we have mentioned. So you have to mention the path here. So that is the reason what we have taken here. Okay, fine. Now if you want to close the file, how will I close the file? Let me copy this, put it here. Say, I'll say workbook.add, a workbook will be created, and then I'll say dot close. Or what we'll do, first we'll see how to open an existing workbook, and then we'll try to close this. Now how to open a workbook? Let me just remove this. I'll take this path and let's put it here, and here we'll mention it as dot open and give the path here. That is the same file what you have created, this new file that we'll try to open. We'll mention the path, that is str path ampersand slash new excel.xls. Fine. So here we're trying to open a new the existing workbook which you created here as new Excel. Now if I run this, see, it will open the Excel file, that is new Excel file. Let me close this. Again, if I run this, see, it is open. You can see this, say new Excel. Right. Now if you want to close a file which is open, say, let me go here, say close. Now if I run this will open the file, and here I'll say wb new dot close. It will ask for save changes. Just say true if you want to change the file, save the file, or you can just say false if you don't want to save the file. See, I'll go here. See, the file is opened. This new Excel. Now if I run this, that will get closed. So these are some of the options what you can work. That is, you can use this workbook as a data type itself, and you can either add or say open the workbook, save the workbook, and close the workbook. Fine. Next one, we'll see how to use the range. Let me go to this and let me take this range object. Here I have some data so that I can explain you with the data. Range. See, I have some data. What I'll do is I'll just copy this, or I'll just move this data. Power file, Okay, I just moved the data here so that you can use this itself for our example. And we'll close this file. At F11, we'll say insert a module F4 mod underscore range, enter. So what are things we can do in this range? What is the range? That we'll see. So here, this what you say, this one, this is the range. Now what all I can do in this, I can select, I can copy, I can filter, so many things I can do. Let me go here. First we'll see how to select the entire table. Say sub select table 1. Okay, so we can select like this. So let's rename this as WKS range. Say here WKS range dot range of, we'll take this from D5 till H53, D5 to H53 dot select, or you can say copy or whatever. Let me run this. I'll just select somewhere here. I will say F5. See, the range got selected. This is static. Now let me copy this, some data, and I'll just paste it here from 54. See, now if I run this, it will select till 53 only. It will not select this. If you want to do that, again I have to go here and change up to 64. Let's say Control Z. Now we'll go here and we'll change this code a little bit so that we'll see how we can make this dynamic. Say underscore say dynamic. Here instead of D5 to H53, so what I'll do is I'll just remove this and I'll say dot current region dot select. So what this current region will do is till wherever the data is there, it will copy. See, it will copy it, or say select. Let me select and increase the data a little bit. I'll put it here. Say now it is more than 53, or somewhere it is still 73. Let me run this. F5. See, it will select. You add how much ever data you want, it will be keep getting selected. Let me copy this and I'll put it here. Let's say I'll put this here and let me run this. See, this getting selected here as likewise. But this current region, if I have data like this, say for example, I have a data like this where I have one column blank here. And now if I run this, it will select only this table, it will not select this table. But if you have one cell like this, which is connecting, now let me run this. See, it will get selected. This is directly, I'm actually taking and I'm doing this. Let's say I want to use a data type called as range. Sub and say data type, I'll say range. How to declare a variable for this? Say rng data as range. So why I showed these two examples is so that for you it will be easy for you to understand what is the range. Now let's take this range or say this range. How to assign the range for this? I'll use set rng data equals the WKS range of dot range of D5 to H53. Now I can say this is the range. That is this one hard coded. Now let me go here. After assigning this, so what I should do? Let's say I can copy it or say select rng data dot. Let me say copy. Here I mentioned a select. Let's say rng data dot copy. If I say F5, say it will copy only this range here till 53 because I'm hard coded this till 53. Let me comment this. We'll take the other one, that is current region. Here I'll say D5 dot current region. Now let me run this. See, it is copying the entire current region here. Let me remove this. Now let me run this code. See, it's copying only till here, like this, right? Okay. So we understood about this range. So where all this can be used? Say for example, I want to filter data. I have more examples, in your charts or pivot tables also. Let's use this range. I'll show you that. But now let's say I want to filter a data by using this range. Let me copy this. And here I'll say same thing. Here I've taken this range D5. Instead of copy, I'll say dot auto filter. And I'll say, let me filter this first region, say field is 1, comma, here, let me take this as center. See, I've not mentioned the hard-coded range here, or say WKS range or something. I've taken this and put it into one variable, and I'm using that variable for filtering the data. Say Fi, see, it will get filtered like this. So I can use this range data type, for using various things like this, where I'm working on the range. Fine. Next one. Next is the chart object. Let me show you what we have in this. See, I have a data like this, wherein I have this sales, quantity, and market share. Now I want to display this data in my chart, which is available here. I'll go and I'll click on this. If I say sales, see, I should get this data. If I go here and say volume, then I should get this data. See, if I change this to market share, then I should get this data. Also, if you see here, I have change chart type. If I click on this pie chart, this will become pie chart. This is line chart. So how to work on this on a chart object? What we'll do, I'll just copy this, and here see options, show sheet tabs, proceed done. I'm just saying show sheet tabs. Here WKS chart, just rename the sheet. I'll copy this data and put it somewhere here. Right. So I have the data here. Let me close this file. Fine. What we'll do is we'll try to use these three different data sets, and we'll see how we can create the chart here. First, what I'll do, let me select this, any one range, hard-coded range, insert, and we'll insert one chart. Let's keep it like this. Yes. Now I'll have a drop down here, wherein if I change the drop down from sales to quantity, I should get the quantity data, then market share, I should get the market share data. First, we'll understand how to work on this object, and then we'll try to make it dynamic. First, what we should do is when I create an object, say chart object, select this, and here I'll say obj chart. So here I just renamed it. See the object obj chart. Let's say Alt F11, right click, say insert, say module, F4, mod underscore chart. Fine. Here we'll say sub chart object 1. So how to declare a variable for chart and how to assign this object to that variable what I have declared, that we'll see. Dim, I'll name the variable as obj chart as chart. See, chart itself is a variable, data type. Obj chart is a variable, chart is a data type. Here what I'll do, I'll say set obj chart equals, we have not renamed it, let's rename this, obj chart dot. Now we should say chart objects, because the object what we have is a chart object. If I'm working on range, then I have to give range. If I'm working on say any other say application or something, I have to mention here which application, or say range or PivotTable, whatever objects you have, that object you have to mention here. If I'm working on a shape, then I have to give a shape. Here I have this chart objects, which I'm working here. I'll say chart object. Then I'll give the object name here. So I named it as chart object. If you go and select this here, if you want, you can copy this and you can paste it here and say dot chart. So this is actually the variable which we have declared to assign this data, that is the chart. Now how to work on this? I have this chart. Now I want to assign this value, or say this value, this range to this chart. Say obj chart dot set source data. Okay, so what is this set source data? It is something like this. Right click and say select data, and I'm going to select this range. So what I'm doing here, same thing I'm doing through code. Say set source data. Here it will ask for the source as range. As I told you, we can use this as range also. You can take a range here and then you can do, or I'll go here, I'll say WKS chart dot range of, let me take this one, M5 dot, don't mention this, say M5 to N10. As I told you, if the data gets added here, it will take only this much. If you want to have the complete range, then I'll say current region. Just now, a few minutes back, we discussed about this. Say current region. Now this is the range what I have. Now let me run this. See, now it is in quantity. Now let me execute this. See, now it becomes sales. Now I understood how I can change this range. That is how I can use the set source. Copy this. I'll paste it here. I'll say update chart. Now what we'll do is we'll take this, we'll put a drop down here and see how we can dynamically change the source data. Go to this developer. If in case if you don't have developer, go to file and say options. Here in advanced, custom ribbon, scroll down. Here I have this developer. Select this developer and say top. Once I get this developer, click on this, and here I have this insert. Click on this insert, and here I have this combo box. Just select it. Now I need to load all the options here, that is sales, quantity, and market share. So what I'll do, I'll type those names here: sales, quantity, market share. See, fine. So if I want these three to be inside this as a items, or say the list, right click, format control, and then say input range, select this. And then I have this cell link, select anywhere in the sheet, say OK. When I go and select here, the input range is nothing but it will take these values. Whatever values are there, it will take these values. The cell link what I selected, if I click on this, see, it will give me the index number. If you see here, it says sales, it is 1. If it's a quantity, it is 2. Market share, it is 3. So using this 1, 2, 3 option, we'll try to change the source data. So how to code that? I'll go back. Here I know how to change the source, but depending on the selection, I have to change the source. I'll go here. I'll take one variable tim inti as integer. This inti, I'll say equals to wks chart dot this one, that is M12, range of M12 dot value. Now we'll take this as condition, say if inti equals 1, then else if inti equals 2, then else. And now let me take this and I'll paste it here. This is for what? This is for sales. 2 is for quantity and the market share. Now if you go here, say obj chart set source data, this one is for sales. Let me copy this and I'll paste it here, and here I'll say P5 dot current region. The next paste it. Then I have this P, then we have this S, S5. So here what I did, for sales I've taken this one, that is if it is 1. For quantity I've taken this one, that is if it is 2. Otherwise I'm taking this market share in the else statement. Now it says one range, another range, and one more range here. And take this code and assign this to my drop down what I've created. Assign macro, assign this. Let's try to change this. Sales, I'm getting this data. Quantity, see, it's going and changing this. Market share, it is going and changing to market share. What happened to this data? Okay, we'll give some 11% here. See, change this sales, quantity, and say market share. Now we understood how we can change the source data. Now we'll see how we can change the chart type itself. I'll make one more program like this. Say change chart type. Let this code be like this only. We'll go back here. Let's say I want some option button. Again, go to developer, insert. Here we'll take this option button. I'll mention this as column chart. Just say column, and we'll take copy and paste, and we'll say pie chart, and then we'll make it as line. If you click on this column, this should be column. If you click on this, it will become pie. If you click on this, it will become line. How to work on this? We have already taken one object. Then we have taken the set source data. Now here, right click, format control, cell link. Just give one link here. Say OK. See, if you click on this column, the index is 1. This is 2. This is 3. Why I gave next to this only is so that you'll understand the index number. See, for this, the index number is this one. But for changing the chart type, the index number is here. Just go here, the option button, right click, format control. You just get the cell link and select the cell wherever you want. Say OK. Now let's take this one, name INTK as integer. Now I'm taking one more variable for chart type. So this is for source data. Let me put it here. Source data, and here I'll say this is for change chart type. INTK equals WKS chart dot range of this one, that is J2 dot value, right? Okay. Now I've taken this say index number. Now if it is 1, that means it should be column chart. If it is 2, it should be pie chart, and if it is 3, it should be line chart. We'll go again and say if INTK equals 1, then else. If INTK is equal to 2, then else, end of. Now here, if it is 1, then let's change this obj chart to column chart dot chart type. That's it. Equals say Excel column cluster. Let me copy this, paste it, and I'll say copy, and then we'll say Excel line. You can say line markers or line, anything is fine. Now let me copy this macro and we'll assign to these 3 objects together. Now let me go and select this column chart. This is the column chart. Let me click on this pie. Did we assign the right macro? Let me select again. Okay. See, pie chart, line chart. The column chart, pie chart, line chart. Still you can have, if you want one more kind of chart, go here. If you want a bar chart, put it here. I'll name it as bar, and here I have to add one more condition. You say go here and say else if it is 3, then it should be line chart. Then else copy this and we'll say Excel bar cluster. Let's go here, say bar. What did we give? This should be 3. Say line 5 like this. So likewise, you can make the chart type to change, or you can change the source data here. See, and let's take line. See, let's take column. Let's change it to pi. See, like this. So this is how you can work on chart objects as well. But you should know how to assign, say declare the variable and assign the value for that variable in objects. I have a chart as a data type that I have assigned here. Fine. Next one is the pivot table. This pivot table, people actually think that it's very complex to write program on that. I'll tell you, this is very simple. As I told you, I'll always make things very simple, the coding very simple. Here for pivot table also, I'll show you how easily you can write program on pivot tables. Go here, right click, insert a module, and let's say before make it as mod underscore pivot. Let's go back. Here I have a range. Let's use this range only. We'll try to remove this data. I'm just trying to clean something to take this data for pivot table. Right. So here I have this region, category, ship mode, sales, and profit. So 5 fields are there. We'll try to create one pivot table on this existing table itself. Let's click here. I'll create one sheet as WKS 5. In D5, we'll create a pivot table of this pivot table sheet. F11. So we're just trying to do some preparation for writing the code. Okay, paste this. Done. Say sub create pivot table is the macro what I'm writing. When I'm creating a pivot table, please keep two things in mind, two objects, that is PivotCache and PivotTable. These two things you have to remember, PivotCache and PivotTable. Dim pvt cache as PivotCache, dim pvt table as PivotTable. I'll explain what is this. This PivotCache is nothing but it's a memory. The pivot table is nothing but the pivot table what we create inside that cache. Whenever I create a pivot table in Excel, there is a cache memory which will get created. Inside that, we are trying to put the data and then create the table. So for that reason, first you have to create a pivot cache and then pivot table. First step is this. Declare two variables, pivot cache and pivot table. Next, we have to assign the data to this variable. So how to do that? So set pivot cache equals, say this workbook dot pivot caches dot create open bracket. We are creating this pivot cache in this workbook, that is in the pivot caches. Say this workbook dot pivot caches dot create. It lasts for a kind of database what I'm using. I'm using this Excel database. Just select this Excel database, comma. It lasts for the source. I told you I can use this range data type. So we'll try to use range data type here. I'll put it as RNG data, but I have to work on this data as well, right? So what I'll do, say dim RNG data as range. I could have directly given the data here. Just want to show you how this range works. If you want to declare this range and say RNG data equals WKS range dot range of, we'll take this one, that is from D5 dot current region. So this will become dynamic. Say I can take this one and I can paste it here. See, this is also fine. Like this also I can use. But what I have done is, it's a good practice that I'm just taking this into one variable and I'm using that variable. We can use like this as well. So what we created, this is PivotCache. Next is you have to create a pivot table. Say set pivot table equals, this pivot table is created inside that PivotCache. I'll say PivotCache dot, say create pivot table dot, or say we'll open bracket, it will ask for destination WKS pivot dot range of, I'll say D5. This is the destination where I'm creating. It will ask for the pivot table name, say pivot table 1 close bracket. Right. The pivot cache is created, pivot table is created. Now if I say Fi, let's go and check. See, a placeholder is created, pivot table is created here. Fine. Now we have to move this, or say take these fields into these 4 fields here. Let me go back. Let's understand. Now if I run this program, I'll get an error. The reason is already there is one pivot table which is created. Now if I run this again, it will throw error. So for that, what I'll do is I'll try to clear WKS pivot dot cells dot clear. So this will clear the data completely, which is in pivot table. Now if I run this, see, it won't throw error because the beginning it will just clear everything and then it will try to create one more pivot table. See, done. Now what I have to do, I have to take this columns which are there here and put it here. So for that, how to do, I'll go here. There are 4 different fields in pivot table, that is page field, row field, column field, and data field. So what I'll do is I'll go here, I'll say pivot table dot pivot fields. Okay, you have to mention the field name, say region dot orientation equals Excel row field. Let me run this. See, it will come to grow. Now I want this sales to be in data field. Just copy this, put it here, change this to data field, and change the field name F5. See, I want something on column. Let's take this category and I'll put it in column. Go here with this category, and here I'll say column. That's it. F5. See, if you want to add one more field here, let's say I want to add the ship mode. Copy this, paste it, just say ship mode, and then let's say F5. See, like this. That's all pivot table. So you just to keep adding your fields here, so that the pivot table will be keep getting modified, or you are keep adding the fields. So you should keep in mind this PivotCache and pivot table. Then if you are assigning this, then I'll say this workbook.pivotcaches, then I have to give Excel database and the data on which I'm creating the pivot table. Then I'm creating a pivot table in this cache, and I'm saying that the destination where I have to create and the pivot table. When I'm dragging that fields, then I have to mention here either row field, page field, data field, or column field. Right? Okay, this is how I can work on the objects. So these are some of the objects on which you can work in macros, that is in Excel VBA. So you'll have more in-depth of knowledge in your dashboard sessions. That is how to work in depth of programming on these charts, or say pivot tables, or more other things. So here what you're trying to learn is how to program on these objects, what all data types are available, how to assign the variables values to these variables which are created along with the data types. Right? Okay. The next one is about the errors, error handling, I'll tell you what is this error handling, and then we'll work on this and we'll understand what are different type of errors I'll get. Let me just put here F4 mod underscore error handling. First of all, error means mistakes. Let's go to one of these. Let me take. We'll take this chart itself. Here I've created. I've written so many macros here. So many macros are there here. Let me go and do some changes here. Let me just remove this double quotes here. Let me click somewhere outside. See, it is throwing error. These are syntax errors. That means it has to be like this only. Say, I'll go here. I'll remove this dot. See, the errors which has to be like this only, in this format only. Let me go here and I'll remove this end if. See, I'm not getting any error here. But still, if you run that, I'll get that error. I'll show you that as well. Let me go here. I'll remove the dot here or say equals here. See, these are actually called as syntax errors. That means these will throw error as soon as I'm typing the code. Say I'll go here, I'll remove this then. See, these are syntax errors. There are something called as compile errors. So what are these compile errors? Say for example, I'm not, I've used this INTI. I'll just delete this. Let me run this. See, I'm not getting any error. See, variable not defined. Or let me go here. I'll make it as WKCH. See, I'm not getting any error now. Let me run this. See, variable not defined. These kind of errors which occurs when I execute the program, they're called as compile errors. So how to check this? See here, I don't know. I'm just using like this. Many of them will be actually facing these problems. When I run this, see, it says variable not defined. If you are getting any error like this, so what you do is just go and check whether this WKCH is there here. See this chart. Go here. I'll mention this as chart. So you have to think. See, the syntax errors will come when the proper syntax is not given. The proper way of writing the code is not done. Compile error will come when it will not throw error while writing the program. It will throw error when you execute the program. So those are compile errors. Let me show you one example here. We'll write a macro. So sub. Right. Let me take the value here. I have this some value. Let me make a total of it. I'll try to divide this value, that is Q6 value, with Q11 value. Say dim. We'll take it as lng q as long and dim lng t as long. Now here we'll try to mention somewhere here, say in this cell Q13 WKS lng q equals WKS chart dot range of Q6 dot value. Then copy this WKST equals Q11. Right? Now the result will be in Q13. Q13 dot value equals lngq plus lng t. Or we'll say divide. Let me run this. I got the result here. Now let me delete this. I forgot to do the calculation here. Here it is blank. But let me run this program. See, division by zero. That is because this lngt which is there, which is taking this Q11, is blank or say 0. any value divided by 0, it will throw error. But how to handle this? Sometimes I might not know that this will be available, this value is available or not. So every time I cannot go and keep changing the value here. So for that, what we'll do is we have something called as error handling, that is on error resume next. This on error resume next, what it will do is it will not show any errors, it will just skip that error wherever it is there. Now let me go here, I'll say message box, we just skip the error statement. See, let me run this. It is executing this statement. Suppose if I'm not giving this, let's go here, see on error resume next, I'm not given, run this, see it will not go further because it is stuck here, there is an error. In any case, any point of time, if you're writing a program and if you feel that there are chances that errors will come because the data is not there, so I want to skip that and go further, then you can use this error resume next. Now if I execute this, see I will get this statement executed, but here the problem is if you have any error, it will not show. So you should be very careful while putting this error handler. Why? Because if you are putting this, you will not get any errors. It will just keep on executing. Wherever there is an error, the output is not given, so it will just skip the errors. Then you will not know whether my program is running or not. What if there is a calculation error here? You will not know because it will just skip. So for that, this on error resume next, whatever is there, you should put only when you feel that it is required. Otherwise, please do not put this on error resume next. Let's assume I have one more code here. After this, I just hard code this as 0. There is one more, something like this. Now when I run this, see both the errors are skipped. But what I want is, see this statement, I'm sure that this will actually get errors. But this statement, I'm sure that here there are chances that there might be error or not, or sometimes it won't get error also. So in that case, I have to stop my error block here. Means the error on error resume next, what I'm giving, that should stop in this block itself, and then it should continue. So wherever I'm finding error, it should again show the error. So to stop this, see if I'm not giving this on error resume next, and if I'm not stopping it, it will keep continuing. Now I'll go here, I'll say on error go to 0. See, when I say on error go to 0, that means this on error resume next will start and it will end here. If I'm giving this, now you see it will execute that statement and it will throw error for this. If I'm not giving this, see it will execute both. If there is any error, it will not give any result and it will skip. See, so what you have to do, say on error resume next and say end the block wherever you feel that it has to be ended. Let me take this on error resume next, and now if I put it here, see it will skip because I'm starting this on error resume next again like this. Okay, so this is your error handling. So error handling, it is left to you whether you want to put that or you don't have to put that. So you don't, it's not compulsory that for every code you have to put, but if you put, it is a good practice. But where we have to put, wherever you feel that the errors are unavoidable, in that situation go ahead. Otherwise just ignore this error handling. Most of the times you won't put this error handling because it will not check any errors. It will directly keep on executing, so that you'll this on the resume next, if you put, so what will happen, it will keep on executing without showing any errors. Then that will be still a problem to debug. Okay, fine. So this is all what we have in our VBA sessions with all these chapters. Hope you guys have practiced.